What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another episode of Out of My Element, where you guys get to pick the album that I review. And the winner of the poll for this is The Wonder Years. The hum goes on forever. So yeah, The Wonder Years is a pop punk band that I believe is from Philadelphia. But I definitely remember these guys. They were a part of the whole pop punk revival thing that happened in the 2010s. The thing is, by this point, I'd stopped listening to that stuff. I was far more interested in goth and metal at this point in my life. So this band totally came and went for me. But I definitely heard a few of their songs from their early period, maybe even an album or two from women I dated or people I lived with. But yeah, it wasn't anything that I cared to listen to, man. It was a bit too radio friendly for my tastes at the time. But yeah, honestly didn't even know these guys were still around, so that's interesting. But this happens to be their 2022 album, and it starts off with Doors I Painted Shut. And the second I hit play, I can tell very, very quickly that these guys have matured a lot since the first time I heard them, man. Gone are the more simplistic riff choices, and Dan, the singer, his voice has changed a bit. However, I have to be honest, I feel like this was a really rough start for me. It sounded way too radio rock for my tastes. It kind of sounded like something that would be in a teen kind of comedy drama. This is the part in the movie where our protagonist, Kaplan, his friends call him Cap. This is where he runs across his crush, and she's out on a date with a much more handsome and popular guy. And while this song is playing, this is where Cap is walking down the pier very slowly, very sadly. But I really like these lines. It's been years since I've been low like this. I don't like me. Playing piano with a broken wrist. I don't like me. And I've been waiting at the windowsill. I don't like me. I need you to know I love you still. I don't like me. Then we see Cap on the pier. He's looking out over the water. He's being filmed from the back, and we see that part where he's kind of slowly turning his head, and you see that he's just oh so sad over Cindy. But nah, these lyrics are absolutely beautiful, man. I'm not sure who he's talking to positively, but he seems to be telling that he's really depressed, but that depression has nothing at all to do with them. You know, he loves them, but he just doesn't love or like himself. And this is something that people suffering from depression always have to explain to partners, you know, but it's really, really beautifully written. The second song, which is Wyatt's song, was a bit better for me. It's still not my thing at all. It's a bit too upbeat sounding, and they use a pretty common guitar style that a lot of pop punk bands used back in the 2010s, and I really didn't like that riff style back then, and I still really don't like it. It's not even that they're playing poorly or anything like that. It's just a riff style and a songwriting style that I'm absolutely not into. But it's on this song that I kind of see why some of y'all might have thought that I dig this. I love Spanish love songs, and it does remind me of Spanish love songs at times, but it's simply not catching me the way they do. Like, the way Dylan writes songs is special to me, but I can see how this would hit that way for other people. The Oldest Daughter is a beautiful song, man. It seems to be about a homeless woman that he's developed this sense of empathy for, maybe even a sense of friendship. I'm not quite sure. This woman is just trying to get by, and he seems like he's just kind of watching her life move on a trajectory that will inevitably end very badly. But Dan has a really nice way with words. I really like how he writes his lyrics. I just don't like the sound of the music, and it's a bit of a bummer for me. But songs like Cardinals 2 and Summer Clothes, they just sound a bit too MTV for me. Like, these songs would be the part where the girls realize that the handsome, popular guy isn't the one that she was meant to be with, and that the love of her life has been under her nose the entire time. Our boy Cap, right? So she's running all over the city trying to find him, and she finally runs across him at the local arcade where he's playing Galaga, and she walks up and just leans on the Galaga machine, and she's like, you know, the best way to win is if you get a double shift. And he says, well, that's only if I'm trying to beat the high score. And she leans in and says, well, what if I want to be your high score? Q song, end scene. Yeah, those songs are a bit too overproduced for my taste, and the songs themselves are a bit predictable. Like, here's the quiet part that kind of builds up into the heavy-ish guitars part, and then it comes back to the quiet part where he says something really profound, and then it gets back to the heavy-ish part, and it ends. You know, nothing wrong with that, but that just doesn't really interest me that much. Or you have a song like Laura and the Beehive, where I really didn't like that song sonically at all. I feel like his voice didn't really go well with the backdrop to me. Like, when he's calm, it's okay, but when he kind of starts bellowing, I didn't like it at all. But again, man, it's the lyrics, man. The lyrics on this album are just fantastic. Look at the song Lost in the Lights. I don't care for the way that song sounds, but god damn it. When I was 17, I wrote a song about how I'm drinking kerosene to light a fire in my gut, and I'll be coughing out embers for decades to come. I was 17 with a fire in my gut. It's like a more angsty Bukowski. I fucking love it. The only song I think I can say that I liked as a whole was Low Tide. I think the music is still a bit formulaic, but it really works with this one, man. I like the guitar riffs. They're driving and powerful while still melodic, and his vocal performance here is really, really good to me. The whole song is a bit Jimmy Eat World-ish, which is okay, because, you know, I used to like them a little. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. But yeah, it's still the lyrics that effectively pull me in to this song, man. There's so much good about the way he writes here. I keep making lists of shit to tell my therapist, the reasons I wish I didn't exist. For anyone who's been to therapy, you'll know the pain of writing those fucking lists that you have to make, man. Although I don't think that most therapists would be stoked on you bringing a list of why you shouldn't be alive to the session. From my experience, those lists are usually created in order to kind of understand why you do certain things and maybe change certain habits for the better. But him writing a list to outline why he thinks the world would be better off without him seems like some shit my snarky ass would have done when I first started therapy, but it's just a really interesting angle to write a song from. Smoke hangs heavy in the wind. I'm reading up on black holes, hoping one might take me in. Yeah, man, like, this is some heavy shit, but I just love it. You know, it's not too heady, but it hits perfectly for me. And it's Low Tide at Serotonin Bay. I'm sure most of you know that serotonin is what folks call the feel-good hormone, and it's kind of what helps us fight off things like anxiety and depression. So again, the lyrics here, they're not super deep, but it just hits the right way for me. Dan's a fucking good-ass writer, man. And the chorus of this song focusing on growing your hair out because you no longer give a fuck about your appearance. You feel so awful inside that you just don't give a fuck about what you look like on the outside. Or maybe you want the outside to kind of reflect the inside, or you don't even give it that much of a thought because you're way more focused on finding reasons to just keep living. I didn't really like the sound of the closing track, You're the Reason I Don't Want the World to End, but I really liked the full circle effect of the lyrics. Because I'm finding hope in the pocket of my winter coat, with your gloves, a reminder that I'm not alone. This is a beautiful line, man. I assume this is about his kid or his wife, maybe. Like, he has their gloves in his pocket for whatever reason, and this reminds him that he's got someone that he needs to live for. And this is also echoed in these lines. I don't want to die because I gotta protect you. You're the reason I can't leave here yet. The reason I don't want the world to end. I don't want to die. I want to light you through your darker months, and I want to swallow the sun before it can swallow us. Holy fucking shit, man. Like, come on. Yeah, you can call this the inner dorky emo kid from the 90s that still remains in me a bit, but I absolutely love the way Dan writes. His lyrics seem to come from a genuine place of uncertainty and sadness about his place in the world, along with a fear of not being around for his loved ones, which this can all be a very, very odd place to be in. And I love how the album ends with him still having this this sentiment of sadness, but also a glimmer of hope in the form of his family, you know, and his love for them. It could seem hokey for some, but I think from a lyrical narrative standpoint, it really, really works here. So all in all, I can't say I like this album because I really didn't care for the music at all. However, I love the lyrics. I could legit read a poetry book that Dan wrote, or just read the lyrics to this album as a poetry book. And I wish I liked the music more, but it's just not for me, man. When I listen to pop punk, I like the more bratty stuff or the more whiny stuff for whatever reason. I don't like the more overproduced, radio-friendly stuff, and that's what I get from this, for better or for worse. But for someone that does like this flavor of pop punk, I think this would be a great album to check out because you'll get what you like musically with some incredible lyrics on top of that. So yeah, Wonder Years, Hum Goes On Forever. Check it out if you like more contemporary, more modern-ish pop punk. But for me, yeah, it's just not my thing, man. Not my thing. Again, not saying this is a bad album or poorly made. I can just say that this is not the style of punk or pop punk that appeals to me. So yeah, make sure you leave some comments. Let me know if you like this album. Drop some comments down there giving your opinion. And if you'd like to be someone that can put albums on these polls, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. And I want to take this time to thank everyone that has been giving me $1 a month. You have no idea how much that helps keep this channel going. So yeah, that's it. So as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see you guys next time. All right? Peace out. Bye.